If you were to come up to me and go, Mike, my computer is running slow. What's the one thing I could do to make my computer run faster? Well, first I'd say clear all that malware off. But really what I'd say is add more RAM. It's amazing to me how adding RAM to a system can improve performance. And if the CompTIA Plus asks you a question like that, be sure to answer in kind. Adding RAM is easy, it's simple, it's a great benefit. RAM's cheap, and if you want to look like a hero, go up to somebody whose computer's running slow, slap some more RAM in there, and all of a sudden they're like, wow, Mike, you're an amazing computer technician. You're like, yeah, whatever. So let's talk about adding RAM to your system. The first thing, the most important thing you can do is grab your motherboard book. If you don't have a motherboard book, go online, find it online. If you just have a manufacturer and you don't know what your motherboard is, go to your manufacturer's website. If you're using a laptop, get the model number, whatever it is, somewhere there is documentation, very clear documentation that says exactly what kind of memory your computer can support. So if we take a look on this guy here, we'll see it can support up to 4 DDR3 DIMMs, and it gives me all the different speeds it can support. And all this is a little tricky to read. You'll see it says 32 gigabytes max. So I can tell by looking at this, I've only got 4 slots and maximum of 32 gigabytes. The most RAM I can put into this system is 8 gigabyte sticks. No one ever writes these really well, but it gets you to the right spot. So we know what kind of RAM we need. Now you'll notice that this motherboard allows us to use a number of different types of speeds. So what's the right speed for you to use? Well, how much money can you afford? In general, the faster the RAM, the better. So I always go for as fast of RAM as I can afford. Not necessarily because it'll make this system run a lot faster, but a lot of times I can, if I want to do upgrades on another system and steal things from another system, pretty much everybody's using DDR3 these days, so I can swap and go crazy all day long. Most DDR memory is what we call dual or quad channel. When we say dual or quad channel, what we're saying is that you have to put in 2 or 4 sticks. There have been even triple channel RAM, but that's not quite as common. The important thing to appreciate here is that if you take a look at a RAM stick, there's nothing about this RAM stick that makes it dual channel or triple channel or quad channel. So people will sell you like these quad channel packs, so it's got 4 sticks of RAM in it. The important thing about channels that you have to remember is that every stick in the channel has to be the same speed and the same capacity. So what I'm going to do right now is I've got 2 sticks of 2 gigabyte RAM, and it's DDR3. And I've already looked in here, I got the right speeds for this system, so I'm going to go ahead and install it. In front of me, I've got a motherboard. It has 4 RAM slots and supports dual channel memory. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the RAM. Now notice how carefully I'm holding the RAM. If I touch this metal stuff, or if I rub against these chips, there's a pretty good chance I can smoke the RAM, so I'm being extremely careful. Push down the little ears. Oh, got it backwards. I drop in the RAM. It's not that big of a deal. Let me get those ears out one more time. And the RAM's in. Now take a look at this. Notice that they're nice and even. Nothing's askew or twisted or anything like that. It's pretty easy to tell when RAM's in. The ears are well snapped in on the sides. Everything's nice and level. You've installed some RAM. The thing you got to remember about RAM is that you really can't break anything by messing up at this point. For example, let's just say you only put in 1 stick of RAM. You won't break the RAM if the computer doesn't recognize it. It just won't work. So you can be kind of gutsy when it comes to playing with RAM or experimenting. Say you don't have a motherboard book. A lot of times I'll just go in there and try stuff until it works. Installing memory is pretty easy. All you have to do is snap it in and you're pretty much home free. The trick is when your computer boots up. If it sees all the memory, fantastic, move on to the next step. But there are 2 cases where if you've messed up, you're going to see it. Number 1, the computer may not boot up at all. That's a big clue you've messed up with your RAM installation. And number 2, you won't see the RAM that you've just added. The important thing you need to understand at this point is that you will not destroy the RAM or the motherboard by doing this wrong. It just won't work. So you pull it out and try something else. So don't be afraid to experiment here a little bit if you're unsure. Now, once the system is installed, watch out for a couple little basic gotchas. For example, don't be putting different size RAMs within the same channel. Also, watch out for things like, for example, when someone asks you to install, this is a great example, this happened to me about 100 times actually. A friend of mine, he's got 4 sticks of 1 GB memory in his computer, and he says, Mike, I have 4 GB of memory, I need 8 gig. So I'm like, fine, I'll go in and I'll buy 2 4 GB sticks, and I look in there, he's got 4 1 GB sticks, so I pull 2 sticks out and I put my 2 4 in. When it counts up, he's going to have 10 GB of memory. That always trips people out a little bit. You know what? Just take the extra memory and put it in your pocket.